Zaga, thank
Thank
you
you.
so much for agreeing to talk to me about your business. We're always excited to hear from people like yourselves who have started their own business, to discover more about how that's worked out for you and what are your big challenges. So yeah, let's just start by, if you could just give me a bit of background about your business, what it is you do.
Okay, so hi there. I'm a perfumer and I would say a beauty entrepreneur. I do have a few businesses that I run. I have a skincare brand which is called F4M London. I also run Beauty Handmade and skincare formulator. So basically, these are three businesses that I run, but my passion is in beauty and perfumery. So I started with the skincare business, and then I kind of because when I was trying to start up my business, I wanted to have some sort of education and everything in one place, rather than going and learning how to make skincare in one place and then going back to someone else to learn about compliance and the labeling and the legislation. So after I started, I had a really very, very hard journey, and I think I had a very gigantic task to do something. And as every startup company without any prior knowledge or any education, any experience, you get so excited and you think you have the best products in the world. People queue up to buy it, but unfortunately it doesn't work like that. So all these millions and millions of mistakes that I've done on route to start and have a proper sustainable business actually taught me a lot. So as a result, I started Beauty Handmade, where I offer perfumery, candle designing services and services for startup companies that want to get inside the beauty and perfumery business.
And was your background in that industry?
Yes, I'm. I come from a different background. I have a master's degree in environmental risk management.
Wow.
So I had the city job for many years, and I worked as an environmental risk manager. So through that job, I actually learned a lot about the health issues and environment and sustainability, and how pollution actually affects the health and the skin. Unfortunately, I didn't have enough data to start anything at that time, because I was looking at figures at how pollution actually affects the health and the well-being of a person, but not much data was available. So I started from London as an Antipollution skincare brand, but I think I was too early even in the marketplace, because people didn't understand whether they need skincare products such as Antipollution. What on earth is Antipollution? Why do I need Antipollution? I don't need it. Oh my God. But now it's getting a momentum with people, in COVID, and people be more aware of the things and the health and the well-being and the mental health and everything. Now I think that the foam is actually gaining a share of a marketplace. I think a fair share of a marketplace. But it took me many years. It took me a long time.
I can appreciate that. It's funny, we had someone that I spoke to last year who was a guy that did a lot of traveling, and he realized that when he was traveling and he wanted to get through, customs and everything very quickly, that having a travel-on bag that he could just take on any airline of a particular size that would fit all airlines was nearly impossible, because they all had different regulations. And like yourself, he came from a corporate background, and then he decided to create a luggage business.
Yeah.
And he made it sound really easy. As I said to him, if you don't come from the background in which you're moving into, then what you have to learn in order to get into that industry is really difficult. And I can imagine with skincare.
Yeah.
And, one of the questions on my list was around legislation and compliance, because clearly that must have been in itself something quite challenging to learn about all of that.
Yeah, it was difficult, because as a startup business, you ought to know all what you're getting yourself into, and where do I get information from? You go and you go to the workshop, just an ordinary general workshop that people learn how to make a serum, how to make a balm, and how to make a cream. That's fine. You learn things, but you don't learn anything relevant to your business. And then you don't know what you have to do to illegally sell your product. So you have to go and do some compliance workshops. And then it's all about general. But what do I do when I have my own product, which is based on XX ingredients? How do I get it legally safe and safe to the point where I can sell it to the public. It's all that you learn a lot. So many phone calls, so many private conversations, and then you have to have a good team of people that are willing to volunteer, or people that you actually pay. So I paid people to give me that information, because there was nothing. If you want something that is relevant to your business, you have to be prepared to pay for that service. But trust me, that saves money. Yeah, that saves lots of money, because so many people start, it's a natural that we all turn to Google, YouTube. We want to make, or why do I pay the workshop when I can learn it myself? That's perfect, because you are learning. But Google is full of information. There is no a filter. You don't know at what stage you have to stop, because it's open so much information, so much, and so many. I have to say, so many people that are talking about very delicate things such as preservatives in the skincare, like bloggers. They, in my opinion, should be heavily regulated, and should not talk about things such as chemistry or things that are really delicate and sensitive to the beauty industry. Because without preservative, you can't really sell your skincare if there is any water in your product, because that's a really huge hazard to the public. And getting some blogger to talk about preservatives and not using preservatives in skincare, I really got so, oh my gosh. So you see, what I'm trying to say, it's a lot going on. So it's a lot of bloggers, lots of people talking about things that they have no background, and they haven't gone through education or through workshops or through compliance, etc. But it is a journey, and I think anybody starting it is a journey, but you also have to be willing to kind of work for free until you get to the point where on a long run, it will pay off if you have determination and passion, etc.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that you said earlier about timing becoming really important. So you came up with this idea of an anti-pollution skincare range.
Yes.
The industry wasn't ready for it.
No.
And at that point, was that when you decided to pivot to something different? Did you decide at what point did you recognize that what you had envisaged, the market wasn't ready for?
I think based on your customer database, the people are buying, but they're not quite sure what is it. They are still buying based on reviews. But at that point, I realized, okay, so perhaps I'm actually very early to the market. So I need to educate population or public or my customers about anti-pollution. How do I do that? So at that point, back in 2016, I started to educate people. I started to talk about pollution and, linking the reports from World Health Organization, a reputable organization, so people can see there is a science behind what I'm talking about. Because to do a clinical study in the UK costs millions of pounds if you want to do it in a clinical environment. That for startup companies, that absolutely out of question, unless you have millions of pounds, which I didn't have, and I don't believe startup companies will have that money. Even if they have investment, no one's going to do that straight away. And at that point, I realized, okay, so what do I have to do? What do I do? I started educating people, and then I don't give up. I carry on and see where I can improve. So how do I improve? I start and do educational sessions and as much content I share with people online as I possibly could, and then leave it naturally, because for me to pump money into Google advertising was not a good idea. A, I didn't have money. B, is it going to work? Because if I'm going to educate the population about things that are pollution and how pollution affects the skin, I need to have a scientific data to prove that. I can't just say and make it up myself. Oh, here I am, pollution, blah, blah. And then at a point, there was a German studies that came out, and that was my point. That's what I'm going to take, because that was done in China, and then there was scientific evidence that air pollution causes hyperpigmentation on the skin, which are marks, and lack of hydration, and these are scientifically proven issues and problems with the skin. having a dry skin, you have more wrinkles. Having a hyperpigmentation, you any makeup is not going to sort it out. So you have to naturally work on that. So that was the point when that report came out, and I said, wow, that's it. That's what I was waiting for. You know, I could have easily given up, but I didn't.
Yeah, and again, going back to educating the customer, sometimes when you're in a very early stage business,
yes.
or when your product is too early to the market, sometimes there's work to be done around informing the customer before you even get to selling the product, right? It's about saying to them, look, here's a bunch of stuff that you didn't know, and I'm going to share this with you, and hopefully in that way it's going to convert you and make you consider buying my product.
Mm-hmm.
I've had similar issues myself with trying to raise investment with a business that's highlighting a global problem,
Mm-hmm.
but it's outside of the awareness of most investors. And so they've actually asked me, they've actually told me, educate me. We want to know about this.
Yeah.
So sometimes as part of your marketing,
Mm-hmm.
it is around education and around informing people, here's why you need this product. It's
Mm-hmm.
not so simple as, here, it looks good and it's going to look good for your skin.
Mm-hmm.
There's a whole bunch of other stuff that goes along with it. And as you said, occasionally you're lucky enough to get that light bulb moment where the research is and the evidence suddenly presents itself in such a way that it's irrefutable, and therefore you can finally go, hurrah.
Yes.
You know, I'm so glad it was there.
Thank you.
So in those early days, how did you go around about finding customers?
I thought that, okay, so the problem with this kind of creative businesses is when you start creating a product, you product develop, you like it, you like the smell, you like the texture, you're so excited about things, you think, oh my God, this is going to be the best. People are going to queue up. You open the website and no one's there. 6 months, no one even visited your website, because you're getting into new kind of territory that was complete from corporate into skincare. My God. I don't have a customer. I don't have a paying customer. The only paying customer I have within those 6 months was my IT guy's wife. And I said, who's that? My God, I have a first customer. That's amazing. So basically you need collaboration. I didn't know that. I just, I was lucky to get a company that was an online marketplace that sells organic and natural. So I did contact them at the outset, but they told me, no, you need to be kind of trading for at least 6 months before you come to us, but we are quite happy to take it, because they are taking you on the basis of, they don't buy from you. It's like, what do you call these days? It's like drop shipping.
Yeah, or sale return sort of thing.
Yes, yeah. So I was like, wow, that's great. So I started with them, and kind of from then, because they had a huge database of customers. They had over 100,000 customers at the time. So that was for me another lucky moment. Was I thinking about this? Absolutely not. Collaboration. My gosh, I'm not giving my baby to anybody. Oh gosh, no. Please don't come to my baby. No. I have to be in control. I'm the mother. But I let it go at that stage. But I was like, I'm very, very nervous. Okay. And then kind of started to grow organically. So they kind of did a newsletter, let people know, and as a result, they educated their customers, and and then moved on. They have 10 friends, and they have 10 friends, and etc. etc. So basically, organically, very naive, I would say, but I was kind of lucky, I think. Yeah. Would I do it differently? Yes. Now, yes. Perhaps I started I started differently now.
What would you do now?
Now I would probably research the idea, okay, and then research it properly to the point that, okay, and then try to see if I can disrupt the market. I would do, because I was in a way, my idea was disruptive in the market, but no one paid attention to me. No one cared about me. Who on earth is she? Oh, Antipollution, really? What's that? So, and I would research the idea, and I would collaborate. What I would do, I would learn from the industry. If I had someone from the industry to be with on the journey, I would have paid lots of money. No, I mean, it's probably not fair to say because so many people don't have lots of money. When I say lots of money, I would say I would pay whatever it takes, as long as that person can take me on the journey, and that person can become my partner or help me along the way. It's quicker, it's more cost effective, it costs you less money, and you're doing the things from the right from the start. Perhaps I wasn't right from the start, because I think I. But the other thing that I did is I invested a lot of money in my education. That's one thing hence we're talking about everything today. It's lots of money that I exited that corporate life. So I had some cash to spend, but I also sold some equities that I had to invest in my education. So I really learned. I went crazy onto learning about industry, learning about everything, because for me, that was the only way, because people just brushed me off. Anybody I approached at the time said, oh gosh, okay, they ignored me. And having something that you believe it's the wonderful thing, and then having lots of people that are just ignoring you. And then it took you some time to realize, when you start a business, you have haters, you have people that love you, and you have people that ignore you, and you need them all. I was hurt back then, really, really. I was hurting so much, But now I like them. I love haters, and I love people that are ignoring you, because that tells you they are not ready for you.
Yeah, and also I think the thing about people who are criticizing you, let's not call them haters, people who are a bit more critical or a bit more judgmental about what you're doing, often can inform you in terms of areas of your business that need work.
Yeah.
Areas of your business that could be improved.
Yeah.
Or areas where maybe you're not getting your message across in the way that you hope. So you're suggesting it's one thing, and people are hearing you in a way that you think, are we speaking different languages here? Is there something going on that I'm not seeing? And the answer is there is. There's something about your message that you're not communicating. I think talking about getting a co-founder from an industry background is something that I definitely that so resonates with me. I've recently, a year ago, started a business with someone, and found someone, luckily enough, who came from an industry background, who was willing to basically split. We're nearly 50-50 partners, and my feeling about that is that those people that have industry expertise are priceless, right? And that because as you said, they can save you so much time, they can save you so much money. And also the thing about those people is that often they come with their own networks. So they themselves can help you in spreading the word and in the marketing, because they've got people from the industry they can talk to and all that sort of thing. And when people talk to me about, I don't want to share my idea with anybody, I don't want to tell anybody about it, it's mine, I'm so precious about it. My view about that is it's nonsense, because frankly, the more you tell people, the more feedback you get. And let's face it, running a business is hard work. You can take an idea and you can turn it into a business, and anyone can steal your idea tomorrow. To actually make it into a business is difficult. So my feeling is that if you meet someone who comes from an industry background and who has complementary skills, so you clearly have the corporate skills, I'm assuming, maybe rightly or not rightly, that you have some financial expertise from your previous work, that having somebody that understands compliance, legislation, formulation, all that kind of thing would have benefited you enormously in the early days. And as you said, if you don't, then you have to get educated. I guess is what you realized developing your workshops, in that you spent a fortune and in developing the workshops. That did you have a background in teaching or doing any of that kind of delivery?
No, I felt I used to, because I'm obviously not, I'm a naturalized British. I wasn't born in this country, but I did teach English. I had English. I back home. I was born in. It was called Yugoslavia at the time, but it's Serbia now. So I taught English from before I came here. But I came to UK in 1997. actually because I wanted to improve my English skills and stuff. But I did master's degree here, got the job in a city, so it was too good to leave, because I was always education to me was which is something that came from my parents. So it's something that is that's the power, and that's the power that no one can take away from you. The only thing no one can ever take from you is the power of education, your education. That people can take all your house, your car, your everything, but that's the thing, that if you have that, that's something that, and if you're clever enough and intelligent, you can commercialize on your knowledge.
Absolutely.
And so knowledge is a power. So that is really something that these are the principles I was brought up, coming from the family of lawyers and doctors and people and scientists that are all into the education and constant improvement. You need to improve yourself, because I over the years I'm becoming better, but I still got room to improve. There are areas in my life that I am lacking certain bits, which I believe that I will get there. And it's a good thing, because you get up in the morning, you are excited to do work on yourself or your business, and then rather than, oh, what do I do today? I've got nothing to do.
So tell me about the workshops. What do they involve? How long are they? And what can someone expect? Because I've read you now deliver a variety of workshops.
Yes.
Around skincare, beauty, perfume, etc.
Yeah. Yeah, I founded Beauty Handmade, and that is to deliver workshops based for people, only people that are committed to start businesses, not people that just want a hobby business. It's rather for people that are really, that want that business professionalism and everything that the business takes legally and in terms of development of a product and what you need to do. So that's a Beauty Handmade. That's to do with candle, home and home fragrance industry and the legislation about that. So I do run workshops 2 days, 1.5 hours each day. I do have programs that are from your idea to launch. And I also have a creation, because in the perfumery industry, the most challenging part is the fragrance, because people, when they start candle business, they think that, oh, I'll just go and buy any fragrance and I'll just say it's a bespoke, it's lovely, it's luxury, but it doesn't work like that. Because if you are getting into business, you have to be different. So you have to have a signature brand fragrance, not just a fragrance that everybody else can buy, because millions of other companies are going to buy that. So it's a more of people come to me with their idea. Okay, I want to start a candle business. What can I do? I want to do this. I want to do, and then I cater that's relevant to them. I don't have a general catalog or general a list to pass on people when they say, okay, it's more about that I like a conversation. I like a telephone conversation to see how determined, how committed these people are, and can I bring the value? That's more important to me. Can I bring value to them? It's only paying. I'm not in a business of taking people's money. I'm in a business of giving you value, because my philosophy here is, if I make you successful brand, if your brand is out there and your name is there, that makes me successful. And that means that that makes me, sort of happy person, not only happy person. It gives a bit of a deeper meaning to my life, not a superficial one. It's just a little bit deeper meaning that it's a knowledge sharing, and that is something that that's my passion. I realized that passion probably came from, because I think when I was little, I was always kind of into things that teaching and talking to public, pretending like I'm some sort of public speaker or a politician or someone. And, I was very, so maybe that's all from there. So, and the teaching is what I do. So that is one part of perfumery, and there's another part, which is a skincare, because the legislation is different. So I set up skincare formulator. That is the same business model, but it's for people wanting to start a skincare business. So I'll take them through. I'll teach them all these mistakes, not to make these mistakes that I've done, and take them on a journey straight away. It's the same model, from very short 3 hours workshops to kind of programs that last for up to 16 weeks. But I'll work with them.
And how has COVID impacted on that? because obviously, smelling things is something that, and putting stuff on your face and all of this, have you been able to work out a way of delivering this virtually? How has your business had to adapt during COVID?
Yeah, I had to turn. I was very, very skeptical of being an old school in a way. Technology goes quite fast for me, but you have to catch up. I kind of converted onto digital, and as a result, I opened different avenues. So I do now. I had inquiries before, people asking me, can you do this online? I said no. I was categorically no. But now I switched to digital. I do lots of programs now. Not so many workshops, like a short workshop. I do have people starting a program, and that's done over a period of weeks. So I send everything to them. I send mini laboratory. I sent all the perfumery ingredients. I sent them blotters, I sent them bottles, scales, everything. They got the same replica of what I have here, they have at home. I teach them how to set up everything. So it really works very well, to the point where I'm asking myself, will I want to go back to in person, really? Because this is working extremely well.
Yeah, and you can do this on a global level now.
Yes.
If you don't have to do in-person delivery, we started out with in-person delivery, but actually we've discovered that digital delivery is really effective, mainly because people can do it in their own time. So if they can't make a session, it doesn't matter, because they can catch up, later on that day, or they can do it tomorrow, or whatever they want to do. So I think there are aspects of digital delivery that actually are more beneficial and can work for your business once you get over the initial fear of the whole thought of having to redo everything in this way. I think that there are many positives to digital delivery that we've discovered. So if you were to say to anybody starting out in the industry, is there any specific advice that you would give people when they were starting out? I know that you said research was one. Do a lot of research. And what kind of research in general would you suggest?
Researching the idea. So whatever the idea. So if you're going to become another Me Too or copy and paste business, I would highly advise you not to do it. So there are so many people, I think I'm going back to what you said earlier about people. So people can copy your business, but they cannot copy you. And you are the business. So copycats, there are so many of them. They're I can do the same. I can do this, but they don't last long. So eventually, people and customers, they will realize that. And researching the ideas in terms of what you want to do, how your business is going to be different. What is it that is from the start? You need to know what is your unique value going to be, or your differentiation, or your brand's DNA. For luxury brands, if you're creating something luxury brands, they talk about DNA. They never say it's a value proposition. What is it that you are going to do, and why do you want to do? Why you think you should be doing this, and why will you buy from yourself? If so, perfect. If not, then obviously there is something that you need to work on. So know everything. Know what you're putting yourself into. It's going to be hard, but it's a challenging and it's a learning curve. So, so I made so many mistakes, but those mistakes I commercialized in a way that I set up 2 more businesses that I now can help other people to do. So that is, you see, just an example of, I'm not saying I'm the clever one, but I saw potential, I saw the gap, and I saw something that I have a passion about.
And I think also just the aspect of learning from your mistakes and commercializing them is really interesting. Sometimes you can look at aspects of other people's businesses that are lacking, that you've heard people say, oh, there's something about that business I don't like because of X, Y, Z. Mm-hmm. That's your opportunity, right? That's your opportunity to go, well, if they don't do X, Y, Z very well, I'll do X, Y, Z very well. Maybe that's my USP, is that their weakness is my opportunity. So you know, in the same way that learning from your own mistakes became your opportunity, and to say, I don't want other people to have to suffer. I mean, to be honest, that's kind of the reason for startup school, is because when, having started up numerous businesses myself and made numerous errors along the way, I just know that I just want to avoid people having to make those same mistakes. Not that they won't, by the way, because as we all know, making mistakes is part of the fun of it. But I'm just looking at my little questions here. I mean, it seems to me that one of the big challenges when you potentially are working in an industry in which there is a lot of legislation and compliance is that you may need deep pockets in order to pay for licenses and things like that, or tests and other things to be done to make sure that your product meets certain standards. Is that true of you know, perfume and cosmetics? I'm thinking in particular, because obviously you're sticking this stuff on your skin. I'm assuming candles maybe not so much.
Candles, not. You still have to, when you're making your own fragrances, you still have to do your own SDSs, which is the safety data sheets for your fragrance blend, and that doesn't cost a lot. That's probably around £300 per fragrance SDS. So that's not per fragrance. So you've done there. For skincare, you need to work with a chartered cosmetologist, actually toxicologists. They would and a third-party lab. You cannot, even if you set up your own workshops and you have a lab that we can perform these kind of tests, you can't, because of you are biased. So for that reason, you have to use a third-party lab. However, I think per formula depends. There are some flexibility there if you have a bulk of formulas that they can do at certain price. But I don't think we're talking hundreds of pounds. We're not talking lots of thousands, etc., etc. It's per formula. I'm not quite sure at the moment how much that could be, but it could be like to do the test per one formula could cost you around £500-600. But you know, I reserve myself there. Not sure until depends on the complexity and everything. But we're talking about, you know, sort of simple formulas, simple lotion or simple cream. But there are ways to work with toxicologists. They can take you and they can work on a flat fee. And there are ways to do it, and it's not hugely expensive, no.
So even the products that I'm thinking about that I see in like farmers markets, for instance, and small markets, those products are still having to go through that kind of testing.
Yes, every product, anything that goes onto the skin, it falls within the cosmetic legislation. Anything that you put on the top of your skin, even a perfume, a balm, anything that stays on or rinse off. You know, it's a shampoo that you rinse off, or it's a balm or a cream that stays. It has to. There's no question about that. You are selling illegal products. You are trading illegally if you haven't got a safety report. So for each formula you sell to the farmer's market, even it's your balm, you need to have a safety report for that. And also you need to register your product under the CNPN, which is a European portal. So your product is registered there and you are a responsible person. If anything goes wrong, they'll contact you.
Oh, interesting. I never knew any of that.
Yeah.
So I mean, as you said, there's loads of information that you probably have no idea about when you start these sorts of businesses, no matter how small or how big, that you need to be aware of. And it's part of, as you said, it's part of the research phase when you're going into it to understand some of the costs attached, the legislation, all of this sort of thing, aside from just, you know, one of the things that we always suggest to people as well is when you're going into business for yourself, you need to ask yourself, how big or small do I have an idea for this business? Do I want this to be a lifestyle business? Do I want this to be a global business? Do I want to do this business part-time? Do I want to sell in a market? Do I want to sell online? Do I want to have my own shop? You know, and you can never know whether or not something is going to blow up and take off. Of course, lots of people dream about that happening, but equally, I think there's quite a few people who would like to make a small amount of money on the side, and they're not looking at this as a big business, but they are serious about it. It's just perhaps to provide them with some incremental income, as opposed to, you know, a full-time job. For instance, would you say that this sort of industry is just as suitable for people who are not looking at this as being for full-time employment as other industries might be? For instance, I mean, I think of candles as being one where we have someone on our previous cohort who makes candles, and I suspect maybe looking at it more now as a lifestyle job, you know, with the view that it may, you know, it may grow into more than that. But it seems like there's quite a lot of work that goes into some of this other stuff, and commitment.
It's easier, it's quicker to start a candle business than skincare business, but you have to, you know, but product development, for example, people that do my workshops, that will come, because for example, candle making is not only melting the wax and pouring into the glass. That's absolutely not right. That's not how it works. It's more about developing the product, more about finding the suitable wick, because the wick is the most important part of your candle. If that's wrong, then you're not going to have a safe candle. It's going to burn with lots of flickering, sooting, like a black air. It's not going to be safe. Will you sell that? Consumer? I wouldn't. I have to do my own due diligence to find out what are the risks, because you have to remember that you still fall within the product safety directive. So you have to ensure that your product is safe to the public. You have the legislation for the home fragrance industry is slightly flexible versus the skincare, but there are still hazards. For example, your candle contains a fragrance. Your fragrance, regardless if people say it's natural essential oil, doesn't matter. It's full of allergens. It's full of that are causing sensitivities and allergies. Then even if you have a synthetic fragrance, then your fragrance is deemed as a hazard to human skin and eyes and to environment. You have to put that onto your label. Since there is a hazard in your product, what do I have to do if that happens, which is a precautionary statement? So that has to be on your label. Okay. There are fire safety pictures that must be on your label. They are mandatory under the regulation. If you don't put them there, so people don't know. But there are pictures that are self-explanatory. So if you're selling to Chinese, they can see the picture and they know what to do. There are certain aspects that have, like your name, your product name, that must be on your label under the CLP regulation. Once you ensure that's all done and compatible, you have a compatible wax and wick, and you have a safe product, then you can sell it. You can do it yourself, that due diligence, okay? Here, versus skincare, you can't do it yourself. It has to be done by a third party. But that you have to pay third party to do your safety assessment, which is a chartered toxicologist, because basically toxicologists will go through material or ingredients that are in your list to see at what percentage this material becomes toxic to human. Like, for example, chamomile tea. Okay, we love chamomile tea. It's natural, it's beautiful, but at a reasonable, sort of dosages. If you embark on drinking so much of chamomile tea, it becomes toxic. Or peppermint tea or whatever, just for the sake, doesn't mean everything natural is actually everything is safe. There are certain natural essential oils that are big no to the skin. You can't even use it because they're toxic. So it's a lot that you need to know, but I'm not saying people should, the legislation is good because it actually protects your business. Your insurances are valid if you have a proper compliance, if you adhere to the regulations and you are compliant. Okay, if you're not, you have to think about actually what can happen if I sell an illegal product, unsafe product. Let's say a candle. Basically, you're selling a candle, you're selling a fire. What if someone burns, a candle whole day and then the glass breaks and the house is on fire, and they are just outside shopping. They come back. Oh my God, where's my house? What do you do? What caused? The first thing is, what caused the fire? It's a candle. Oh my God, what candle? I'm not saying that will ever happen, but people, you have to think about what's the worst case scenario. This is me exaggerating, because being an ex-risk manager, I have to take it from that perspective. But I do have to assess every single risk, just to make sure that I understand the risks that I'm getting myself in. I'm fully compliant, and I'm telling you as a consumer what you can do, what you cannot do with my product. It's up to you from that point. Okay, if you're allergic to linalool or some components of lavender, you don't buy it. Don't buy things that contain allergens. It's on the label, it's listed.
Yeah, and I think, when I think about products like skincare as an example, I do think about risk, and about you're putting stuff on your skin. And again, some of the corporate, some of the aspects around how we incorporate our business so that we de-risk ourselves. And that's when becoming a limited company, which we go into later on in the course, comes in.
Yes.
But so once you start creating products, as you acknowledge, where there's a potential risk to the public, whether, your house is going to potentially go on.
God forbid. It's not going to happen, but just the worst case scenario.
Yeah. Honestly, there are many aspects of running businesses, and clearly running a startup school is a relatively low risk scenario, as is running a workshop. But, creating products that the public can use and potentially have some impact on, on their body is another thing to consider. I think we brought up loads of really great points.
Yeah. Yes.
And I've thoroughly enjoyed and learned multiple things from this conversation.
Thank you.
Which are slightly onerous. But yeah, I think, Zaga, you point out some really great points in terms of educating yourself from the start as to what's involved. Just summing this up, educate yourself at the start to what's involved. What are the costs involved in all of these compliance? So you know what you're getting yourself into from a cost perspective. What is the unique selling point? What's the value that you are bringing to this? And test the market to make sure that people actually want this before you jump into it. And of course, the benefit, if you can find it, the benefit of partnering up with somebody, if you don't already have industry expertise, partnering up with somebody who potentially has that expertise, or if not, coming to a workshop like the one you deliver, so that you can save yourself all that aggro that many of us have been through and have experienced. And know too well how painful it is.
It's very important that every company starts small, from somewhere, from a kitchen table or whatever desk that is. Idea. You can be sitting on a bus. Oh my gosh, I have an idea. Or you might be cooking something and say, oh my God, I have a idea for cheesecake business, or whatever that business is. So we all start very small. You have to go through the same business philosophy, or even if you're starting small, or you can never start big. You can't jump and start big. So, for example, there's a small startup versus farmers market. You have to do the same due diligence, and the same amount of money will go here and there. The question here: how much you want to grow your business? And what's the growth? So basically, people should be looking where my business is going to be in 5 years' time, and start with a very famous phrase: start with the end in mind. So if you, for example, creating a candle, that you believe that you need to see where that candle is going to sit, on what shelf. If that is going to sit in Harrods, then obviously you have to do the look, the brand story, the fragrance and everything for Harrods shelf, because Harrods will never take you if your candle is cheap looking, or your candle is not luxury, or your candle doesn't have any sustainability, any brand storytelling. If there is nothing behind it, why would I? Why would I buy? Why do I need another candle? I don't, but I like the brand. And I like the authenticity. I like how they do it. They are inspiring me. I want to try their products. I want to buy and I want to be part of that. I want to be part of their story. I want to smell the fragrance. It's a lot of things. Here, skincare as well. So if you go on Amazon and Google skin moisturizer, it probably comes up about 43,000. And you ask myself, why do you have it for? Because I enjoy it, and I think I have something that people like.
Yeah, and it's just about that point of difference. I mean, as you said, and we acknowledge as well, it's you're the brand, right? You're the value that you bring to it, and that's what this is all about.
Yeah,
it's been lovely to talk to you. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak to us. And I just want to smell those candles now.